This weekend, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park plays host to the GT3 Cup finale. All season, we've seen hard charging and battles for position. This weekend's season finale promises more of the same.
The Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada Series is one where lifelong dreams become fulfilled and where young racers come to hone their driving skills. 2018 was a near-perfect season for Zachary Robichaux. His drive and determination helped to steer the Ottawa native to his first-ever championship. While one young racer succeeded with his aspirations, others gained maturity and power towards their next step in their racing resume. The 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada is the perfect blend of raw, young talent mixed with an iconic brand with rich, deep roots in motorsport on some of Canada's most challenging circuits. Hello and welcome. We're in Bowmanville, Ontario, just outside of Toronto for the 12th and final round of the 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada presented by Yokohama. 13 perfectly prepared cars ready to do battle here at the famed Ontario circuit. I'm Dave Bradley along with Daniel Morad, a great Canadian racing talent in the sports car world. And Todd Lewis is trackside. Zachary Robichaux has terrorized the competition in 2018 in that vibrant fluorescent green Mark Motors machine, winning 10 out of the last 11 races.
Coming into the weekend, Zach had a 38-point lead over Roman DeAngelis, with Remo Ricchetti sitting third, just ahead of Stefan Rosinski.
Well, the top of the leaderboard looks to be all locked up, but that race from third to fifth is very tight. Those positions could change hands in the final race of the season here today. Yesterday, race 11 took place. The number 98 machine of Robichaux took the lead over his teammate at the drop of the green. The rest of the field, though, filtered into line going into turn number 3.
It was a clean first and second turn, but those two corners can really make or break your race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
As the race moved on, though, Ilker Stark in the number 48 Sports Car Boutique Gold Cup entry overtook Martin Harvey in his prestige Porsche machine.
We've seen this story over and over again in 2018. The 98 of Zach Robichaux stretching out his lead over Roman DeAngelis, followed by Remo Ricchetti in the open road Porsche.
But soon it was Mother Nature in play. As the sky opened up, we had numerous offs. And then IMSA officials put out the red flag. Zachary Robichaux declared the winner, and with that win, the 26-year-old clinched the 2018 championship. With the weather looking much more promising, we want to see this finale go the distance.
The Porsche pace car gets ready to roll here as we get set for one warm-up lap.
The field set based on fast times from yesterday's race number 11. That'll find Zachary Robichaux at the front of the field.
I actually spoke to Zach after qualifying. He said he had issues with tire warming, and a few of the other guys, Remo, Roman, also said the same thing. So I don't think they optimized their quali lap, but it is what it is. Zach's on pole yet again.
We have a number of onboard views to bring you today's race with. One of them, the 83, the Porsche Center North Toronto entry of Max Tolman. There's Ilker Stark in the 48 making his return once again this weekend. Let's take a look at that starting lineup. Zachary Robichaux, Remo Ricchetti make up row number 1. Row number 2 has Michael DeMeo in the 35, and Roman DeAngelis drives a 78. A little bit of a surprise to see him in 4th. Jeff Kingsley in the 16, and Patrick Dussault in the 77. That's row number 3. Then row number 4 has the Masters entry, the 84 of Perry Bortolotti. Stefan Rosinski drives the 8. Row 5 has Michael Fanton and Marco Cerrone, another Gold Cup entry. Taking a look back to row number 6, there's where we find Max Tolman in the 83, Martin Harvey in the 08. Rounding out the field, Ilker Stark driving the 48, as we mentioned, in row number 7. We talked about this legendary circuit here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park off the top of the show. 10 turns, just under 4 kilometers, 3.9 kilometers, and lots of place to pass.
Going up the Mario Andretti straight, that's probably your key passing opportunity into turn 8, also into corner 10, into 1, 5 if you're feeling a little argy-bargy.
You can really roll the dice at any point.
Just before we go green, fellas, I talked to Zach Robichaux before he got into the car and asked, are you approaching today's race any differently now that you've clinched the championship? Said, no, not really, but maybe a little bit like when he's running in the U.S. Series. He's not running for a title there. There's no overall championship. He might be a little more relaxed, but he also wants to continue this near-perfect season.
And the thing about Zachary Robichaux, and Todd, is that he has had this air of confidence around him all season long. Ever since race number 1 here in the 2018 season, Zachary Robichaux knew that this could be his year to dominate, and dominate he has done. But will he cap it with a win? The field bunching up through turn number 9. We're looking for the green flag. It's a 45-minute timed race here in the Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. They're off of turn number 10. They'll see the green flag, and we're underway.
Zach got a great jump on the entire field, actually. And Ramo goes around.
Problems in turn number 1. The 96 open road entry of Ramo Robichaux, who started on the outside of the front row.
Yeah, it looked like he stalled the car there, and he stalls it again. Once you get flustered like that, it's very difficult to keep your composure and really refocus and try to go forward again. But what happened, I think Ramo touched the rear end of Roman DeAngelis' car, and with the rear engine, it's so much weight in the back of the car. When you touch with the front end, you just go around.
Let's have another look at what happened. There's DeAngelis up on the outside, Robichaux down low, and it looks like they were side by side, but you're right, maybe a little contact.
Yeah, anyone that touches the rear of a Porsche, usually the person that touches is the one that goes around. Just unfortunate, and those tires are not happy. Those Yokohamas are going to be screaming at Ramo for the rest of this race.
I was going to say cold tires and now flat-spotted tires because he really locked it down to keep it off the concrete.
Yeah, he did a great job keeping it off the wall, but unfortunately his race will be compromised now.
Battle for third spot we're watching here between the Polycaro Motorsport Sports Car Boutique entries. It's Michael DeMeo and Jeff Kingsley, the 35 and the 16. Just in behind, though, look at Patrick Dussault in the 77. The Lozo Autosport entry just in behind there, inside the top 5 for Patrick Dussault. Good run for that team in the early going of this one.
Yeah, great start by the top 3 guys, actually. One thing that we mentioned is Roman out of place, but he's quickly found himself back in familiar territory running right behind Zach.
Yeah, we did fail to mention that off that initial start because he got up alongside Ramo Robichaux right off the hop, so he did well with where he started, which was way back in 4th spot. Unfamiliar territory for the driver of that car.
Yeah, but Roman, again, showing that he's showing he's a veteran. I mean, even though it's his first season in the Platinum category, that was a veteran move, going around the outside of turn 1 at the start. That made his race, essentially. If he was stuck behind in 4th place, it would have been very difficult to overtake. Oh, and we see Max Tolman around.
Problem for the Porsche Center North Toronto back to entry, the 83 of Max Tolman. Tolman doing double duty here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, racing in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
Also
as well as in the
doing some landscaping.
and through the gravel traps and the offshoots in turn number 5 as he gets the machine righted. Still no caution as we remain under green flag here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Zachary Robichaux here later in the early going, almost 2 seconds though, the gap already over his teammate Roman DeAngelis. And we should mention too, the 83 of Max Tolman headed to pit road, so looks like some issues on that machine. Tolman off the pace after that spin in turn number 5, headed down pit road.
It could have just been a case of flat spotting the tires, much like Ramo in turn 1.
Yeah, so the crew's going to go to work and take a look at those tires and see what is the issue. Tire change, the air jack goes down, and Max Tolman will refire and rejoin today's event. It's got to be heartbreaking this early in such a long race. 45-minute race. You have a lot of laps to log here today, and already you're sitting on pit road, and you're like, my race is kind of done at this point.
Yeah, essentially any mistake. That's what makes this championship so difficult. One small mistake has a massive effect on your race with 45 minutes.
views. 3 drivers battling for 3rd spot. Everybody still chasing the number 98 of Zachary Robichaux as we ride on board. Michael DeMaio sits in 3rd. The 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada, presented by Yokohama from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, is brought to you by Porsche. And we stay under green and we stay with this battle for 3rd. Patrick Dussault has dropped back just a little bit as Michael DeMaio and the 16 of Jeff Kingsley, teammates in the Polycaro Motorsport Sports Car Boutique Porsche Center Oakville entries, battle nose to tail.
It gets complicated when you're teammates because you always want to beat your teammate because you're an equal machinery, equally prepared machinery. But at the same time, you don't want to crash into your teammate with your sponsors, with Polycaro Motorsports on the car. And you see that Steph Rosinski locking up. He definitely doesn't want to make a habit of that over this, 37 minutes remaining, because those Yokohamas won't be happy with him. And I mentioned before, flat spot. What that essentially means, it's when you lock up the tire, it burns the rubber off, so it creates a flat area on a round surface. So it creates a vibration, and it's more prone to lock up on that same flat spot area. You'll turn into the Flintstone car eventually.
Makes sense. Michael DeMaio now working through turn number 9. So gently eases it into turn number 1. That's really a make it or break it corner here. Sort of an underrated turn here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You can gain a lot of ground, but you can also lose a lot of ground in turn 1.
Yeah, well, it's the first corner of the lap. You can, make a great lap out of it, or you can completely blow it.
It's a battle for 10th spot as Remo Rochetti continues to work his way forward. You mentioned the flat-spotted tires on the open road Porsche Center Langley number 96. Doesn't seem to be phasing him too badly right now as he moves around the Wingo Racing entry, the 08 of Martin Harvey.
It definitely doesn't show, but I'm sure inside that cockpit, his teeth must be rattling right now, but he's doing a great job.
Let's have a listen. Just watch the steering wheel for a second. Doesn't appear to be moving too bad in the turns. Now, is that vibration, is that something you can pick up? You saw his hands moving a little bit while turning.
It's very hard to see it on video. It's funny because anytime I report a vibration to my engineers, they always think I'm crazy because they're like, we can't see anything. But I'm like, I'm telling you, I feel it in my hands and my butt. Like, I feel the car jumping. But it might just be a case where we can't see it visually on the screen, but he might be dealing with something that, we can't see.
It's there. Trust, well, when you lock down tires like that, it does. You're right. But this battle for 3rd, it looks like Michael DeMaio is catching Roman DeAngelis in 2nd spot as DeMaio turning a lap his quickest time, just about the same speed that DeAngelis has as well, as we look back to a battle for 11th position, the Prestige Porsche 08 of Martin Harvey, just ahead of the Polycaro Motorsport number 48 of Ilker Stark. 3.2 seconds now, the gap between 1st and 2nd, and we'll keep an eye on that back gap between 2nd and 3rd, DeAngelis and DeMaio.
Yeah, Zach, yet again, just in a race of his own, but we have to remember, this is his 3rd year in the championship, so he's taken all the experiences from previous years. I remember racing against Zach in 2016. That was his rookie season, where he did do a great job. He won 2 races and proved that he's worthy of being a champion, potentially. Well, he is a champion this year already coming into this race, so he's just putting it all together and, showcasing his true abilities and his true talent.
Going from track to track, though, the last race at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières one, unfortunately, we didn't see Martin Harvey at because he was at his daughter's wedding. So big congratulations to Martin Harvey and the whole Harvey family. But you go from a place like the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières to a wide open place like Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. What kind of changes are you making to that race car?
Well, at a street circuit, it's very bumpy. You want the softest settings. I touched on that on the last show, but you have a spec car, you have spec shocks, but sometimes you can get a new shock that's maybe a bit stiffer, or a more worn out shock that's, you know, you've been using over a season. And you would typically dyno those shocks to check how much compression there is in the dampers and also in the springs. And you basically want your stiffest setup for this kind of track. Fast and flowing. It's actually the 4th fastest circuit in the world for average speed. Something not a lot of people know. But that's what makes Canadian Tire Motorsport Park so tricky. I mean, you can just see it's fast. Most corners are 4th, 5th gear. You know, 200, 210 kilometers an hour. That's something you don't see on the TV screens. You have to look at the speedometer for that one.
It's fun to drive, though, isn't it?
It is, and I take it for granted. I go all around the world. I just actually came back from the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and that is one of the craziest tracks in the world. But again, it's not. This is a miniature version of that. It's very fast, blind corners. Mostly every corner on this circuit is blind on the entry, so you can't see where the apex is when you turn in.
Riding on board, your driver in 3rd spot. Everybody still chasing Zachary Robichaux at the front. Welcome back to the 12th and final round of the 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada, presented by Yokohama. We're at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley, along with the king of Moradness, Daniel Morad, a veteran sports car driver and a former champion in this series as well.
Yeah, thanks for that shameless plug there for Moradness. Moradness.com, check it out. But yeah, there's definitely Zach again out front, just stretching his lead. You can see his last lap. About 4/10 quicker than Roman right behind him. So he's stretching at that lead by 3 to 4/10 per lap.
Yeah, and it's about 4 seconds now, the interval between first and second. 4 seconds, 1/10 that last time by. But if you look back to Michael DeMeo, he did close the gap on Roman DeAngelis for a little bit. It started to open up once again as we take a look at your race for 8th spot between Perry Bortolani and Michael Fanton in the 14. Just ahead, too, is Marco Cerrone. That's a Gold Cup entry in the 18 of the Mark Motors Cam.
And that's going to get interesting because the Platinum car versus the Gold car, there's a little bit of a difference, primarily in power. So the Gold class car has a little bit less power. I believe it's around 20 horsepower less than the, I think 15 to 20 horsepower less than the Platinum car. So you'll see a big difference on the straight. But from what I've been hearing, I've been driving the Gold class car. That was the Platinum class car in 2016. Now it's evolved to the 991 Gen 2. I hear that it's a little stiffer in the rear, more tricky to drive, a little bit more challenging, but now these teams are seasoned, and I mean, they've just nailed the setups, so you can see lap times are just so quick for the race pace.
Yeah, you had 3 different versions of the cars there, because you had Marco Cerrone in the Gold Cup, you had Perry Bortolani, who's in the Masters Championship with ABS available, and then you had the Platinum entry of Michael Fanton. So realistically, I mean, there's so many different variations out there.
And with the ABS, that's something I'm used to now. Driving GT3 spec cars, international spec, you have more downforce, ABS, traction control. So arguably, it's a little bit less challenging than driving these cars. This is where you really hone your skills. This series made me the driver I am today. It's just such a great learning ground. And guys like Mike Fanton, who are brand new in the sport, jumping into this platform, it's going to help him immensely going down the road. When he moves up in the racing ladder as he develops and progresses, it's just going to be easier and easier for him, essentially.
And we talk about Michael Fanton, awarded this year's Yokohama Spirit of Speed Award, which best represents the true racing spirit of Porsche. So big congratulations to Michael Fanton in his first year of racing. Listen to that Porsche engineering sing down that Andretti straightaway.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like a flat 6 screaming at 9,000 RPM. So I kind of miss it, not gonna lie. And yeah, definitely they've done a great job with the evolution of this car, like I mentioned before. It's just so much quicker that the lap times are dropping every time they hit the track here. This weekend was a bit tricky. mixed conditions, as we saw in race 1. We had a little bit of rain at the end, so it's a green track. So these guys, essentially, all the rubber they've been laying down over the weekend is being washed away. So they're starting from ground zero again, and they're just putting some fresh Yokohama rubber back on the track.
Plus, when it comes to setups, too, you're dealing with a damp track on Saturday. You move over to the next day, and it's a completely dry track. We've got some sunshine now as well.
And it's difficult. I mean, you have a few different settings you can change on these Porsche 911s. You can adjust roll bars, ride heights, alignment, so camber and toe, and all those little details together give you that perfect setup that you're searching for. So one small adjustment, being too stiff on the front anti-roll bar, or too soft on the rear, it could throw the entire balance off your front axle and your rear axle. So you really want to have that equal grip distribution across all 4 Yokohama tires.
This one started out as a battle for 8th. It's now a battle that includes 7th spot. And Marco Cerrone's, we ride on board the driver in 2nd place in the Mark Motors entry, the man from Bell River, Ontario, just 17 years old. Comes into this one 2nd in the championship. Of course, championship locked up by Zachary Robichaux, but Roman DeAngelis also having a great series south of the border in the U.S. Championship, where he sits 2nd in that point standings as well, 24 points out of top spot. Look at Fenton.
He's looking for a way by. I think he's getting frustrated behind Perry. He wants a way by. It looks like he is the quicker car of the pack in front of him. So Marco's doing a great job. He's just hitting his marks. And like we mentioned, he's in the gold class car, just exceeding track limits a little bit there, but he's doing everything he can to stay ahead of this pack behind him. And he's at a disadvantage because he has less power down the straight, so he'll have less top speed. And Perry just kind of stuck in there, not taking a risk on his teammate, like we mentioned as well before. It's kind of like, do you do it? Risk versus reward. Do you want to take him out? Do you want to, swap paint? I don't know if silver would look good on that black Mark Motors car.
Well, you take nothing away from Marco Cerrone, a former champion in the Masters division, now holding his own in a Gold Cup car, as we will return to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in the final race of the Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama for 2018. Zachary Robichaux continues to lead. This is a battle for 7th spot, and it's one we're keeping a close watch on. You have the Gold Cup entry of Marco Cerrone. You have Perry Bortolotti, who's a Masters entrant. And then you have Michael Fenton in the Platinum Cup car. And these drivers are so tight.
Yeah, Mike, I taught him that one, how to use your high beams. Let's say you distract the car in front of you. But Perry just got all out of shape on the exit of turn 3. And Mike Fenton looking to take advantage of that. You can see Perry going a little defensive into 5. I mentioned at the top of the show, that's a really good passing opportunity, but you do need to swap paint there to make it stick because it's so tight. And it does tighten, so it's a tightening radius, and that leads on to the longest straight on the circuit, which is another great passing opportunity. So if you can get right up on that slipstream.
We talked a little bit about the horsepower deficit in the Gold Cup entry, but watch how Marco Cerrone is able to gently maneuver that car through the turns and not scrub off too much speed. He's keeping up the momentum like no other.
Yeah, he's just making sure he has nice clean exits where he's not getting too much wheel spin on the exit of 5B, which leads onto the Mario Andretti straight. And if he does that and he doesn't make any mistakes, then he should be able to keep them behind as long as he just keeps hitting his mark and focuses on basically being perfect.
Now you see Michael Fenton chasing there as he watches these two drivers ahead of him. Very experienced drivers as well, as he looks to pad his own experience in the Porsche GT3 Cup race. This is only his 10th ever race, period.
Yeah, and I've been with him right from the beginning, coaching him between races, and seeing his development has been unbelievable, to be honest. One of the most talented, most rawly talented drivers I've ever seen in racing. I mean, he takes to advice and coaching so well and implements it right away.
Kingsley took a look and a little bit of a lock up there onto Mayo, and the 35 into turn number 8 as he tried to hold his teammate behind. Kingsley is getting racy in the Polycaro Motorsport Porsche Center Oakville number 16, and DeMeo got crossways on turn 10.
It was all arms and elbows for Mike DeMeo there. He has a mirror full of Jeff Kingsley right now, and I mean, he wants this bad, and he's all over the track, just almost off in the exit of turn 1. I mean, in full defensive mode right now, trying to keep his teammate behind him.
Kingsley from nearby Ajax, Ontario, with family and friends in the grandstands here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, looking to put on a good show. He's run well here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it comes as no surprise, coming out of the karting ranks here in Canada, and then moving up through the touring cars as well, and now jumping into the Porsche GT3 Cup. He really hasn't missed a beat all season long.
They're both doing a great job, and one thing with Mike DeMeo, I've known Mike for years. I think when I first started karting, he was also there. I think he's more or less the same age as me, and he actually has my very first go-kart suit, which I still need to pick up from him.
And he's got some pressure on his back bumper. Of course, Michael DeMeo missed a couple of races over the course of the 2018 season. Didn't race at Sebring for the season opener. He also missed the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières at our last stop.
Yeah, considering he's missed a little bit of the action, I mean, I don't think he's missed a beat here on this final race of the 2018 championship.
And DeMeo would be in that battle for third in points, if not missing those 2 races over the course of the season. But he does have to hang on here because Kingsley is turning up the heat now. This is a battle for third spot, as we mentioned. Zachary Robichaux in the Mark Motors number 98. He is your champion for 2018, and he continues to lead as now the 96 of Remo Richetti, 9th place as he dives underneath the 14 of Michael Fanton.
Yeah, Remo's on a comeback charge now. He has, although they're Mark Motors branded cars and Remo's in an open road branded car, they are all operating under the Bestline Autotech tent. So that team operates basically 4 cars, and they do a great job as well.
And Richetti setting the 2nd quickest time in the first race of the weekend, and that, of course, gave him the outside front row starting spot for today's event. See the sticker, #GetWellWickens, on the dash of Remo Richetti. A lot of these cars featuring stickers outside and inside around the circuit as well. Get well Wickens, is everybody thinking of Robert Wickens here this weekend?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate what happened. You know, he had a really big incident at Pocono, and I used to live with Robert, and I raced against him from basically day one. I actually have chills just talking about it. It's, yeah, really, really sad, big accident. I really hope he can recover from that, and just really wish him the best.
And we hope to see him back on the racetrack very, very soon, as Remo Richetti picks up yet another spot, now up into 8th position in the open road number 96. Porsche Center Langley back to entry. Remo Richetti, he might be on a tear now, just to show people, look I made a mistake early, but I'm going to make up for it.
And being the last race of the season, this is the last time you have the opportunity to make an impact on somebody's decision for 2019.
There you see Fanton and Bortolotti battle for 9th position. They resume their fight that they've been having for many laps before. Bortolotti, the leader in the Masters class here today, and still that dice for 3rd. Michael DeMeo in the 35 and the 16 of Jeff Kingsley in the Polycaro Motorsport Porsche Center Oakville entries. We should mention too the 83. There he is, Max Tolman. You see brake lights on the Porsche Center North Toronto entry of Tolman. He saw that battle coming by, ducked to the inside, let them go. He jumped back on the gas. And we will take a quick break here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We'll be back with more on TSN. The 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada, presented by Yokohama, has been all Zach Robichaux and the Mark Motors team. Once again, the blazing number 98 has a 4.7-second lead over Roman DeAngelis. One of the most interesting stories surrounding this series as well is Operation Motorsport. Very unique to IMSA in general. It's run by Tiffany Loader and her husband Diesel, and it involves servicemen and women and motorsports. Daniel, you've been involved in it. You've had a serviceman in your pit before.
Yeah, we have. I actually had a serviceman in my pit at Virginia race this year in another championship I'm racing in. So it was just a great experience. All great people. Diesel and Tiffany do a great job with that program, and it's really nice to see it developing.
Yeah, it's great to sort of give back to those who give so much to protect the freedoms of our country, and to get them involved in motorsport, it really puts a smile on their face. Now up into the battle for 7th spot is the 96 of Remo Ricchetti from British Columbia on the back bumper of the Gold Cup entry, the number 18 Mark Motors vehicle of Marco Cerrone in through turn number 2.
You see, typically you don't downshift gears through turn 2, but because Remo's in behind Marco, he's getting a little bit of front aero wash, and what that means is that airflow to your front spoiler or the front splitter is being taken away, so you don't have as much front grip. Downshifting that gear, getting that engine brake and rotating the car is going to help him, basically have the fastest speed through turn 2.
And there we saw a couple different lines. Marco Cerrone letting the car slide out just a little bit, able to keep up that momentum and keep the number 96 at bay. Again, horsepower advantage to Remo Ricchetti. Ricchetti gave a quick wave beforehand as Marco Cerrone pulled up to the outside. He left that inside lane wide open. Again, both those vehicles coming out from underneath the same tent for today's race. Best Line Autosport working on both those vehicles. So these drivers know each other, and so there's a lot of respect between the both of them.
No, there certainly is a lot of respect, but that was a prime example of the horsepower difference, and there's no better way. That's Exhibit A right there. You could see that battle earlier with Marco Cerrone, Mike Fanton, and Perry Bortolotti. That's the difference that you had in real time.
Leader now into lap traffic. On board Zachary Robichaux in the 98. Ilker Stark in the 48 Gold Cup entry as Robichaux takes a look as he's going by.
And a cheeky little look in his mirror.
Stay there, please. And now he's in the slipstream from the 08 Prestige Porsche of Martin Harvey. We should mention, on board now the 96, and almost an off, a moment anyway, for Remo Ricchetti. And watch here, that's Cerrone retaking 7th position.
I think he just really wanted to explore different parts of the circuit. They've freshly repainted the outside of turn 2, which looks beautiful, and Remo just wanted to leave his mark there.
Well, now he's got to work again, and back down the Andretti straightaway. Ricchetti with a big head of steam will try and tuck to the inside, and looks like he'll be able to going into turn number 8. Clears him before turn number 8.
And now he can resume his work and try to keep pushing on, but it'll be a tall order to catch the group in front of him now. There's a really big gap.
Just over 12 minutes remain in this race. We have to take our hats off to the driver in 5th, Patrick Dussault, on the Lozo Autosport Porsche Prestige number 77. Stefan Rydzinski in the downtown Porsche number 8 in 6th spot. Both those drivers having a respectable run here today. Take nothing away from what they're accomplishing.
Oh, certainly, and we're gonna have to take a quick peek or keep an eye on Remo's lap times versus Stefan's lap times, because there's 11 minutes and 40 seconds left in this race. If Remo can really keep his head down and put in some good laps, he could potentially, based on the numbers here, he could catch Stefan by the end of this race.
Well, if you take a look at the best lap column as it flashes up on your screen in the upper left-hand corner, you will see that the 96 of Remo Ricchetti is turning a lap almost equal to the leader of the race, so he does have the pace in that car.
And if my math serves me correctly, it's about an 8-second gap to Stefan Rydzinski, so
Roman DeAngelis. Yeah, Roman DeAngelis wanted by in a hurry. He has the lap car of Martin Harvey. in the McCafe backed entry in between himself and the race leader, so he doesn't want to waste any time. He doesn't want to lose any more ground to his teammate, Zachary Robichaux. Harvey up on the outside, and here comes DeAngelis pinching down low.
And you can see the high beams came earlier. That's actually a button located on the steering wheel, so it's a blue button that you can just activate with your thumb. You press on and off. And it's more or less just a signal to say, hey, I'm faster than you. Yeah, let me by, or just try to distract the guy in front of you.
DeAngelis, the only driver in 2018 to beat Zachary Robichaux this season, picking up round number 5 in Montreal. He came close to winning round number 6 and doubling down in Montreal. Unfortunately, came up just a little bit short. Zachary Robichaux won that race, as he's won every single other race this season.
Yeah, and if there's one race you're going to win, you want to win the Montreal Grand Prix. That's the coolest thing ever. I've been lucky enough to win it in the past, and it's the coolest feeling to have all the Canadian fans there with the Canadian flags. You can hear them over that engine note.
And you see Ilker start just ahead of third place, Michael DeMeo. And that was a moment as DeMeo had to grab a handful of steering wheel off turn number 10. Everybody saved it. We'll take a quick break here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Toronto's Michael Fenton, who was in 10th place, just went for a slide on the exit of turn 3 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
You can see Perry was a little wide of the corner, had a slide, and Mike, that was a nice job to keep it off the wall. He has this amazing ability to spin. It's just unbelievable. I've never seen somebody do such a good job of spinning and not hit anything.
Well, he didn't hit anything, managed to keep the car going, and we stay under a green flag, no full course caution. Under 6 minutes to go now as we pick up this battle for third spot. Michael DeMeo and Jeff Kingsley. These two drivers on the same team have been battling so closely all race long.
Yeah, with equal machinery, I mean, they're just doing a great job. At one point in the race, DeMeo just had a mirror full, like he does right now, of Jeff Kingsley, and he was getting a little out of shape, but now he's found his composure. He's just hitting his marks, and he knows that if he doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be really, really difficult for Kingsley to get by.
Roman DeAngelis 0.3 of a second quicker than Zachary Robichaux that last time by, but we're continuing to watch the 96 of Remo Ruscetti, who continues to lay down very quick times in his chase to pick up more positions after the lap 1 problem. On board, the number 78 of Roman DeAngelis. His middle name is Senna. It's an Italian family, but their hearts are entrenched in the German Porsche brand. And there is your race leader out of the Mark Motors camp, the number 98 of Zachary Robichaux. Not only has he been near perfect here in Canada in 2018, 4 starts in the Porsche Cup USA Series and 4 wins.
Yeah, 4 big wins as well. They weren't small ones. I mean, he definitely left a mark on that series, and he's showing again, like, his experience is coming through. In year 3, he's putting it all together and just driving perfectly.
And you can see the difference between Ruscetti and Radzinski is now just about 2 seconds with 4 minutes remaining here in this final race of 2018. Michael DeMeo, who has been holding off his hard-charging teammate in Jeff Kingsley nearly this entire run. These two have had a great battle all race long.
Yeah, great way to finish the season for DeMeo. I mean, it'd be great to see him back again next year. This is his first season. Actually, both these drivers, it's their first season in the series, and they're doing a great job here fighting for a podium position.
Whatever you've raced before, getting into a Porsche GT3 Cup car and racing it at speed is very different, isn't it?
It is. It's challenging. You have the engine in a very unique position. It's behind you. It's behind the rear axle. So it does require a special driving technique, but it gives you the tools, like I mentioned earlier, to move on through the racing ladder and drive anything at speed.
About 4/10 a lap difference between Radzinski and 96 of Rachetti. Again, we're watching that battle on the time charts. We're watching this battle on your screen. It's a dice for third, and it's been this way nearly since the drop of the green. There you see the 96 Porsche Center Langley entry has caught the downtown Porsche number 8 of Stefan Rydzinski. It's a battle for 6th position. Now in through turn 10. Will ride on board Rachetti. Can't get him into turn number 1, but he is right there. He's waiting for that one mistake.
Yeah, it looks like he's just sizing him up. He took a peek inside of turn 10. He wanted to see if there was an opportunity there. He's more or less gauging his distance, his closing speed for turn 10. That could be a move he's looking at accomplishing in the lap to come. I mean, there's not much time left. There's 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes left in this race.
Pair of Western drivers. Rydzinski from Alberta and the number 96 of Rachetti from British Columbia, battling hard on the track. They're great friends off the track as well. And Rydzinski locks up the right front in turn 5. Is that the mistake that's going to cost him 6th spot? We're under 2 minutes to go.
Rachetti right in his slipstream now. He's going to take a peek to the outside, it looks like, going into turn 8. That's a difficult move to pull off. But he's there, he's alongside. If he can stay alongside here into turn 9, which he can't, that's an opportunity where you can squeeze up the inside of turn 9 and seal him out for 10.
Here comes 10, and the 96 dives to the inside, but thinks better of it. That opens up a gap now between those two drivers. As Rydzinski holds on, there'll be 2 laps to go that time by. We didn't see the white flag yet, so that would indicate at least 2.
And that's good news for Ramo because he needs as many laps as he can get here.
He really has worked that car hard since the start of this one. A half spin off the start in turn number 1, 4 flat-spotted tires, and again another lockup as Stefan Rydzinski continues to try and hold the Porsche Center Langley Open Road entry of Rachetti at bay. The Speedstar group does work on the 8 car as again another lockup into turn number 5. That Yokohama tire is taking a beating.
And the white flag comes out this time for your leader, for Zach Robichaux. So this is, well, 1 more lap for him and 1 more lap for that battle behind for Stefan Rydzinski and Ramo Rachetti.
Zachary Robichaux doesn't have to sweat anymore. He can pretty much put it on cruise control at this point. He has dominated this entire race. And again, a huge lockout into turn number 8 for Stefan Rydzinski.
Yeah, that tire must be damaged at this point. He's locked up too many times in such a short amount of time where, yeah, he really has to protect it. Again, lock up. So that, for sure, is a damaged tire. He's just looking in his mirrors. Yeah, driving in his mirrors at this point. Ramo's completely filling all 3 of them.
He gets close, does Rachetti in turn number 1. A little wiggle on corner exit into turn number 2. Turn number 3 is a really good passing opportunity if you get the drive out of turn 2, but it doesn't look like the 96 is going to be able to do it.
But again, more lockups, so that's going to compromise him for this last lap.
And look at that. The 98 of Zachary Robichaux eases it through turn number 8 and turn number 9. The number 98 of 26-year-old Zachary Robichaux from Ottawa, Ontario, behind the wheel of that Mark Motors entry, will win the final race of 2018. What a dream season here for Zachary Robichaux. His teammate, Roman DeAngelis, comes home in 2nd spot. This is the battle for 6, and Rachetti's going to get it.
He just did a classic move. Down the inside of turn 8, that's exactly what you want to do. Down the inside, he knew that Rydzinski had a problem with that right front Yokohama tire. Locking up, flat-spotted, and again, he locked up into turn 8, and that's it. Ramo, he has it for 6th place.
What a drive for the driver of the 96, and what a battle to try and hang on to it for Stefan Rydzinski. But there is your winner and your champion for 2018. We'll be back and chat with Zachary Robichaux. For the 11th time in 2018, the number 98 Mark Motors Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, prepared out of the Best Line shop, rolls into victory lane. With a record 11 wins in one season, Zachary Robichaux from Ottawa, Ontario has rewritten the record books.
Just a dominating performance. He won the first race and he won the last race, and more or less everything in between.
From Sebring to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park to Montreal, Toronto, and Trois-Rivières, Zachary Robichaux has sprayed the champagne everywhere he raced in 2018.
For the final time this year, for the 11th time this season in the Canadian Series, there is congratulations for Zachary Robichaux. The smile on his face of a champion. 11th victory of the season. You started the season with a victory. You finished the season with a whole bunch of victories on your way to a championship.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal year. You know, myself and the Mark Motors racing crew, thanks Sarah, have been working really hard to to achieve this. And we wrapped up the championship yesterday, but that didn't mean that today wasn't important to us, and we wanted to get that 11th victory that eluded others in other seasons past. So it's been really fantastic.
Big smile says it all. Let's take a look at your top 10 finishing order. Good run being put in by Michael DeMaio. Holds off Jeff Kingsley. Dussault and Ricchetti 5th and 6th. Stefan Radzinski holds on to 7th. And Michael Fenton rounds out the top 10. Let's go down with your second place finisher.
I know you'd like to be winning more of these races, but you have to acknowledge this. This was a really strong season for this entire team.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to Zach and everyone at Mark Motors. I mean, if I was anyone's going to beat me, I wanted to be Zach. So awesome credit to him. Really glad he was the one who got the championship. But I mean, obviously, I'd like to be there. So you never know. Maybe a few more years we can get one. But I think a really positive season for us in general. One win, a couple really good runs against Zach, a few mistakes that I definitely learned from. So some stuff I can take on for the future.
I don't know if you've noticed, but Roman's sporting a new buzz cut courtesy of a seat fitting gone wrong. The two-part foam overfilled the seat and went into his hair. They had to buzz it all off.
Ooh, that would do it, but we'll take a look at the final point standings. Ricchetti will come home in 3rd. Radzinski in a tie for 4th with Jeff Kingsley. Patrick Dussault will round out the top 5. And there you see the champagne being delivered. That's Tiffany Lauder on the podium. Roman DeAngelis set to spray his teammate the winner today. This race has been brought to you by Porsche.
When the sun goes down, here with you I'm found. In your love I drown. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm making memories with you. All of the stupid things we do. We may be young, but we are wild and free, making memories. I'm making memories with you. The stupid things we do. Yeah. I'm making memories with you. I'm making memories with you. All of the stupid things we do. We may be young, but we are wild and free, making memories.
And what a historic season it has been. That's Mark Wyun, the CEO and president of Porsche Canada, presenting Zach Robichaux, Michael and Liza Amrak of Mark Motors, and the entire Best Line Racing Group in their 2018 Ultra 94 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada Championship.